My name is Jodi and I'm from Castle Rock, Colorado. I went to a baby shower for a gal from church and ended up meeting a lady who was into natural health, and so we ended up at the coffee shop and she brought Dr. Henry's book and it had the CD in it. So I took the CD home and watched it and thought, oh my gosh, this guy is amazing. And I got his book about 3 weeks to a month ago. I was dealing with health issues and food allergies for the last 20 years, and I have done everything in my own strength to try to figure this out. Last year I was dealing with some parasites and amoeba, some really nasty stuff. I think I spent $25,000 last year on my health trying to get well. Found a doctor out of California that worked with alkalinity, and I was all in because day one of starting his regimen, stomach blew up, parasites and stuff, you could feel them in there. World War II, couldn't survive in the alkalinity, never felt so good in my life. Was on the journey of eating about a food list about this big, which was all greens and basically eating like a science project. And I felt like God just kept saying, on earth like it is in heaven, you know, I have more for you, I want you to experience my fullness. And so in July of this year, I started bringing some of the foods back in and get really sick and dealing with a lot of vomiting and just not feeling good. And I just kept feeling like I needed to keep pushing instead of giving up. And I felt like the battle, instead of it being physical, was spiritual. And so I just kept standing. And then here comes Dr. Henry Wright. And it's like, this makes sense to me. This makes sense. When you read his book, it's so packed full of scripture that you read a few of his sentences and then there's like a million verses, and then a couple of him and a million verses, and so centered in God. And so basically what it does is you have the truth of alkalinity. This doctor that I was following spent 40 years studying blood and everything else, and it's very real. It's worldly truth, right? Well, then you have God's truth, which is higher than worldly truth, and he says that, you know, who the sun sets free is free indeed, and that God made all things very good. Well, if God made all things very good and all I can eat is this small list and be healthy, something doesn't line up there. And so I wanted to venture out to get down here, and I've had such a fear of death, you know, from food. And within a week, the Lord said, no, you're going. You're going and you're going to be fine. You don't need Whole Foods. You don't need all this organic stuff. The hotel's going to be fine. And God worked it out, and it really was fine. And the best part was really being able to push past the scary things and bring these foods back in that would make me very sick beyond just the meats and things like that, and eating things that I haven't eaten in years. Some of the stuff since childhood, being able to have coffee and have cream in the coffee and not get monster stomach aches, or to have ice cream. We had ice cream and a waffle cone today. I mean, that was huge, ginormous to be able to have that. And just God's love of how much he loves me, that he wants me to be able to enjoy some of those things. And obviously those aren't the only things that we ate all week long, but I wanted to test it. The other big thing is, from 6 months old, I've dealt with major constipation. And so I was taking the baking soda and the 4 salts to go to the bathroom. I haven't had that in almost 2 weeks. And my peristalsis started to work again, which is just incredible. But probably I have to say, through all the healings and the food allergies and being able to eat all that, that's nice. But the biggest and greatest gift that I got was the deliverance from the spirit of deaf and dumb, and being able to read the Bible. I have been on a regimen since about 2008. Well, I'll get up very early in the morning to spend time with the Lord. And when I start to read the Bible or listen to the Bible, out like a light. Or we'd go to church. And I love our church. We've been there 18 years. But as soon as the praise and worship starts, I'm tired. I can't stand up. Or I've gone to evening services. I fall asleep. And so getting that spirit completely gone, I open the Bible and being able to retain, being able to remember what I read. And it's not that it's perfect. I'm not memorizing the Bible by any means, but I'm being able to get fed and feeling like God has given me His wisdom and His knowledge. And to me, that's priceless. And here's the other thing that I'll say to you guys. I've been healed both ways. I was healed back in 2004 of severe manic depression, where I was prayed for, totally off the 3 meds, plus my things for my grass tree and weed allergy. So I know what it's like to be touched and healed, but here's the gift that comes with this, and through this way of getting sin out of your life and seeing how these things enter, is now I have the tools in my tool bag to go back home and to be victorious. It wasn't like Dr. Henry Wright laid his hands on me and that's when I got healed of my food allergies. It was you guys giving me the tools to walk through, to break this stuff off, these sin out of my life, which is the spirits. That's enlightening in itself to understand that it's not just sin, but it's a spiritual battle. So you get rid of those spirits, teach us how to cast those out. You don't have to be some incredible deliverance minister to be able to do that. And knowing that when I get home, those things and those habits are going to want to try to come back, and I have the tools in my tool bag to be able to walk free and victorious. And that's what makes it so awesome. The other piece that I have to say is last week when I started eating some of the things and inflammation started coming back and some of the sweaty, terrible armpits started coming back, and through some of the people who had walked through this that were here and were back, they said that is not from the food. The inflammation is not from the food. It is from fear. Or like God told me about the armpit thing, that is not from sugar, that is not from yeast, that is not from candida, that is simply from the fear. And so you keep standing, and you don't, because you have some bad little reaction, go, oh, I can't have that again. No, you say, I'm going to stand because God made all things very good. So you guys have taught me how to find His truth, and you guys have taught me how to stand on His truth. And that gift is priceless, and I'm excited to take that back home for those that are interested in learning how to stand on those principles and walk it out themselves as well.